Okay, so let's just finish the Gemara and get to the bottom of the Gemara. Well, oh, shkach. Thank you. Tonight's Chabura is sponsored by Sid and Sandy Goldschmidt. Yeshakayach to them in memory of Sid's father, whose yahrzeit is the 3rd of Adar, Achavar Ephraim ben Achavar Moshe Yehuda, Shamash Evan Aliyah, and the memory of Sandy's mother, Tzivya Bas Avram Matisyahu, whose yahrzeit is the 9th of Adar, Mitzvah Hashem the Neshamas Shehaven Aliyah. That reminds me that the 9th of Adar, that I have a chasana next Wednesday night, so there's not going to be Chabura next Wednesday night. But on that note, let's try to cover some ground. I'd like to get to the sugya at the bottom of Yud Zayin Amud Aleph. It's a little bit of a gadita, so we'll go through it a little bit quickly. But let's first do the top Gemara, which is very important. How do we get to the numbers of how much a Sanhedrin Gedola is? So the Gemara in Daf Tezayin Amud Beis says as follows: Sanhedrin Gedola Haisa. So the Gemara quotes the Machlokes Tanoim. What's the Mishnah? The Mishnah says Sanhedrin Gedola Haisa.
Where's that?
In the Mishnah, it is by the Yudches of the Masoras Hashas. It's 9 lines down, 9 lines up from the bottom, in the middle of the line. Sanhedrin Gedola Haisa shel Shivim ve'echad, Uktana shel Esrim v'shleisha. And then you skip another line, end of the line. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Shivim. So Machlokes Tanoim whether or not the Sanhedrin was 71, or the Sanhedrin Gedola was 70. We mentioned this shita of Rabbi Yehuda, that Rabbi Yehuda is not bothered by Bezdin Shakel, and he has the ability to have a Sanhedrin Gedola with an even number. My time in the Rabbanon. What's the reason for Rabbanon? So I just find this Gemara fascinating. Why didn't the Gemara just answer my time in the Rabbanon because in Bezdin Shakel? The Gemara doesn't say that. Gemara assumes that that's not the issue, and the Gemara says, "My time of the Rabbanon." So Zok the Gemara, "Umoshal gabehen," that you have a cheshbon of 70 dayanim. What? Umoshal gabehem Amar Krav Yisyatzu Sham Imach Sanhedrin Gedola 71. Rabbi Yehuda Imach Mishum Shchina, and Rabbi Yehuda says, "No, with you means that what? You're necessary not for the numbers of dayanim, but you're necessary for what? So that there's Hashras HaShchina. Sagt Rashi, Imach Mishum Shchina. Imach Yamdu Michutz La'oil V'lo Yavo La'ol Mishum Shchina. Lashon Acher Mishum Shchina Shetishra Shchina Aleim. So Rashi in the second Lishna says, the reason why you're necessary, see, Hutzruk Moshe Liyas Imam K'dichsiv Ve'etzaltim En HaRuach Asher Alecha, I need you to be there so that they're going to have Siyata D'Shmai, they're going to have Hashras HaShchina. Otherwise, without you, they're not going to have Hashras HaShchina. The other lashon Rashi, the first lashon Rashi, is not that they should have Hashras HaShchina, but Imach Mishum Shchina, Imach Yamdu Michutz La'oel, V'lo Yavo La'oel Mishum Shchina. Meaning they should stand with you from outside the Oel just to tell you that there's a problem of Shchina, but not that there's a necessity of Shchina for their psak. So once Rabbi Yehuda learns this out to be Imach Mishum Shchina, so therefore you're just left with the regular Shivim Skenim. Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't included. By the way, the Taisis Yantiv has a bomb kash on this Gemara. Taisis Yantiv asks, Imach, Moshe Rabbeinu, we know from the last Gemara, is what? Moshe Rabbeinu is the makar for Tosefes Ala'ir V'Azaris. I'm still thinking about Shmuel's Kasha. Again, Shmuel's Kasha was this week's Parsha. The Gemara says to be Moisif Ala'ir V'Azaris, you need 71 dayan. So then the Gemara says, so then you should also need to be Makdish the Kalim with Shemen HaMishcha like Moshe Rabbeinu. So the Gemara says, no, on that the Pasuk V'chein Tasu doesn't apply. Rashi says in this week's parasha, V'chein Tasu means that the Kalim have to be exactly like the way it was in Moshe Rabbeinu's time. The Ramban says, can't be. V'chein tasu is going on that because the Mizbeach Adama was totally different.
So about the vav actually, because he was
The what?
He was focusing about the vav.
What vav?
V'ken ta'asu.
Yeah.
Because otherwise he says
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. V'chein tasu. Right.
Yeah.
So the Ramban says can't be. The Kalim were all different. V'haraya. The Mizbeach Adama was in the Zman of Shlomo was much larger. Good. So then therefore the Ramban says V'chein tasu is just leziras ba'alma. It's just to be mazaris them, but not teaching you a din about the Beis Hamikdash in the future. That really could be totally different. There is no halacha that you have to mimic the Mishkan. Good. So the Maharal comes in defense of Rashi and he says, no, the Chen Tasu is talking about the Kalim, and what? And the reason why the Mizbeach Adama was different is because the Mizbeach Adama has a din of the Karka. That's why it needed Adama in it. So Shmuel asked, it's against our Gemara. The Gemara is learning that the din of Tosefes Ir Va'azaros, the fact that you're extending the land of the Azara, the Karka, that you need V'chein Tasu. So you see V'chein Tasu also applied to the structure of the Mikdash. I actually saw it in the Darkei David, which is the parish of the Taz, the Turei Zav, Ala Torah. He says that 100%, what the Maharal said on this pasuk is wrong. He says it doesn't make any sense, says the Taz. And he says, in Echanami, there's a din V'chein Tasu both on the Karka and on the Kalim, like Rashi learned. And what's with our Gemara? So our Gemara, what's with the Mikdash that it changed, even on the Karka? Why with the Mizbeach? So he says, that's a Navi. He had a Navi at the Zman of Hakamas Mishka. He had a Navi, so he was a Rasha to tell you that the halacha changed. But in Echanami, without that Navi, would have been they have to be the same structure as the Mishkan. Otherwise, I don't know how to answer the Maharal. So ask the Tosefes Yontif. Ask the Tosefes Yontif. What do you mean? If you're learning Imach that Moshe Rabbeinu is Bahadayu like Rabbanon, so what? You should say what Moshe Rabbeinu is. What is Moshe Rabbeinu? So the Gemara is in the passage saying anytime you needed Moshe Rabbeinu, it's 71. So you should need 142 Dayanim. Sorry, 141 Dayanim. 141 Dayanim, because Moshe Rabbeinu is not 70. So that's the Tosefes Yontif Kasha. So the Briskerov, I think, is medayik from the Rambam that Moshe Rabbeinu at a certain point in time in Baal Loischa lost his status of being b'makom Ayin Aleph. There was a certain time in the Midbar that Moshe Rabbeinu lost the status of being 71. And the Mela, if you learn like that Briskerov, because the Briskerov is medayik from the Rambam, that when Moshe Rabbeinu was Memane Yoshua, it was Hu Ubeis Dino. So you see that Moshe Rabbeinu was already a Yachid by that Zman of being Memane Yoshua. So there was a shlav that Moshe Rabbeinu lost in Parshas Ba'aloscha, this status of being Ayin Aleph. If that's the case, like the Briskerov, that there was a transformation of Moshe Rabbeinu's status, so Memela, you can answer the Tosefes Yontif's kasha. Tosefes Yontif was clearly assuming that Moshe Rabbeinu still existed as 70 Dayanim, so that's why he would have a kasha on this Gemara. Shai. Weiter. Rabbanon Amar Kra, v'nosu itchach v'masa am, itach v'at ba'adayu. So Rabbanon respond back to Rabbi Yehuda that used imach mishum shchina. They say, we're masking to you, but we have another pasuk of itach v'masa am, v'at ba'adayu. Rabbi Yehuda, itach b'daimen lach. No, itach is not to learn that Moshe Rabbeinu was included with us, but rather they have to be like Moshe Rabbeinu. Zok Rashi, what does that mean? They have to be miyuchasim, they have to have good yichus, the dayanim of the Sanhedrin Gedela, and they have to be menukin mimum, they have to have no blemishes. Rabbanim yivahakem alecha v'nasu itcha nafka, they learn that halacha from v'haka alecha v'nasu itcha nafka. V'yalfa Sanhedrin Gedela mi Sanhedrin Tala, and they learn Sanhedrin Gedela from Sanhedrin Tala. Zakt Rashi. V'Rabbanan nafkalu b'daimalach nivenosu itcha de Sanhedrin Tanos, and that pasuk is by Sanhedrin Tana, so we're allowed to learn Sanhedrin Gedola from Sanhedrin Tana Shenemar b'Yisro v'Alpha Gedola miktana. So this, I don't want to talk about this, but this halacha actually has some ramifications la halacha. This is a long shmooze. you look in the Rambam, Ram says, "Ema midim Sanhedrin bin gdela bin ktana, ela anashim chachamim nevoinim muflaim bechachmas Torah baledeya meruba yoidim ktsas mishar chachmas kegon refuos." Ram lists, "B'doimelach bechachmo b'yira b'yichos." So there's a big diin if this is ma'akev, that you don't have all these things. Itach b'doimelach. And it's for really another time, another discussion, but it has practical ramifications of people that have been proven not to be qualified dayanim, and now there's questions retroactively on converts that they might have converted. What's the halacha on these people that are not b'doimen lach, that are not menuka mi'avon, that could have tremendous ramifications.
Not the Torah?
What?
Meaning not the Torah, only gear? Like if there was a decision that they...
Yeah, no, I'm more scared. I'm more scared about gear.
I'm saying, does it have the same, would it be under the same umbrella?
L'chora. The shaila is, would these psulim work l'mafreya? Would these psulim work l'mafreya? All right, for another time. Fine. So then the Gemara goes into a gansa agarita, really discussing the Gemara that discusses Eldad Umeidad. That there were Vayishar Shnei Anashim b'Machna, Yeshomer b'Kalpi Nishtayru, Shebesha Shomer Lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu L'Moshe Esveli Shivim Ish. HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu to get 70 men, and Moshe had a suffix. Amar Moshe Keitzad Ese. What am I going to do? Ever Shisha Mikol Shevet Shevet. If I'm going to get 6 from every Shevet, then what? Nintu Shnayim Yiseirim. So I'm going to have 72. How many Shvatim is Moshe Rabbeinu cheshbening?
Interesting.
12.
12.
Why is that?
Exactly. So
Is Levi not included? Is Ephraim and Menashe counted as one?
Yeah.
Something's got to go. So it's not clear. The Sifrei writes that Levi was included. Why shouldn't Levi get Dayanim? So the shaila is, so then what? So Ephraim and Menashe is one? Or maybe when the Sifrei meant that Levi is included, meant according to Rabbanan that hold Moshe Rabbeinu is one of them, and Moshe Rabbeinu Shevet Levi. Mm-hmm. Not exactly clear how to make the cheshbon, but clearly the Gemara's assumption was that we're multiplying everything by 12.
That's in Pasha last week's parsha.
That what?
It says, Vayatzev Moshe, Shneimusur Matzevis, L'Shneimusur Shifta Yisur.
Uh-huh.
So who's left there?
Right. And Chanami. So I think I think the pashtus I would assume is that Rashi writes Menashe and Ephraim were just we're not considered two shvatim legabe everything. Menashe and Ephraim. What does Rashi write in Vayechi? Rashi writes in Vayechi that only le'inyan chalukas haaretz they were like two shvatim.
No, but usually the Torah, when it doesn't mention Levi, they mention
Menashe and Ephraim. Right.
When they include Levi, they don't mention.
Right.
So it's never together.
Right. One's got to go.
Yeah.
Right. So Evror chamisha mikol sheva v'sheva nimtzu asar chaserim. Then I'm going to be stuck with 10 less. Ever shisha mishevet zeh v'chamisha mishevet zeh. Harini matil kina ben ashvatim. So why don't you just do a go roll? So Maya said, Bira Shisha, Vehevi Shivim Vishnayim Piskin. He had 72, there were 6 people that were chosen from every Shevet, and he had 72 cards inside the lot. Al Shivim Kosav Zakin. For 70 it said Zakin, Ushnayim Iniyah Chalak, and 2 were left empty. Balam and Asa Bakalpi, Amarlem Bo V'tlu Piskechem. He said, everyone take their piece. Kol Mishalab Yadu Zakin Amar Kfar Kitch Chashamayim. Anyone who had zaken, so he was a zaken. Mishalab yada chalak, amar hamakom lo chafetz b'cha He let them hear it. That Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want it. Was Moshe Rabbeinu said it like it is. So what am I supposed to do? Oh, so fine. So that's the way it works. So Rashi says. I'm sorry, that's next Gemara. Okay, so Gemara says the same thing existed when it came to the numbers of the pidyon of the Bechors Keneged the Leviim. That in the Midbar, really the first pidyon Aben was all of the Bechoros that had a Levi that was automatically an automatic pidyon without Chamisha Shkalim, because the Kedusha was transferred from the Bechor to the Levi, and then there was 320 extra. How much was it? The Gemara says. Chamisha Shkalim Lugagolos Amar Moshe Ketzad Eselin Yisrael. Im Omer Latein Len Pidyon Say Yomer Li Kfar Padani Ben Levi. So he's going to say, what do you mean? I already was niftes from a Ben Levi. My Eset Hevi Eser Mishnayim Alaf and Piskin. He had 22,000 cards. V'katzav Aleim Ben Levi Val Shlosha V'Shivim. Sorry, 370 no, 273. Kasav Aleim Chamisha Shkalim, they're going to have to pay. Balam v'nasav v'karpi, Amlam Tlupis Kechem. Mishal b'yada Ben Levi, that which had said Ben Levi, so you had a parallel Ben Levi. Amlam Kvar b'chadacha Ben Levi. Mishal b'yada Chamisha Shkalim, Amlam Latem Pit Yadacha V'tzei. Reb Shimon Omer, fine. So that was the way it was configured. So there were two people that got stuck, that they didn't get the kedusha of being a zachin. Reb Shimon Omer b'machne Shtayr b'shash Amar LaKadosh Baruch L'Moshe Esvalei Shivim Ish. Amru Eldad Amedan Ein Anu Re'uyim La'usa G'dayla. So what happened? So they said, we're not going to go to choose. We're not going to go to choose. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu Holu mi'atetchem etzbachem areini moisev gdula al gdulaschem uma gdula hosif at lahem sheneviim kulin isnabu pasku. The rest of the Nevi'im had a limit in how much Nevuah they had. Veheim nisnabu v'lo paschu, and they continued being a Navi. So the Pashta sounds like Eldad Umeidad didn't go to look for their Pesek, but they actually were Zkanim. And the two left were the ones that were Zakin. Right. Right. Yeah, so Rashi says that. Rashi says in Dira Maschal Misha Allah biyado chalak ushnayim yosem shivin shahol chalito Allah biyado chelik. So there were two people before Eldad Umeida that already got the empty ones. So the two Zkanim were left were Eldad Umeida. Rashi's bevorning a kasha because the Yerushalmi asked the kasha that if the last two people would have been chalak, so they could have had a taina. They could have said if we would have gone first, maybe we would have gotten it. You know, like the kids argue whenever they have a lottery, so that could have been the argument here too. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Rashi is saying, made it in a way that the last two would be Zkanim. So therefore, the people before always had a good ratio to have the probability to be able to be a Zakin at the beginning, and you don't have a taina against them. Fine. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu granted them because they were doing it out of anivus, that they didn't want to go to look at it. So that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave them and granted them continuous nevuah, which the other Dayanim did not have. So what was the nevuah about? So the Gemara says, Uma nevuah nisnabu, Amar Moshe Meis Yeshua Machnis. Not such a pretty nevuah. Moshe's Rabbeinu is going to die, and Yeshua is going to be Machnis, as Yisrael La'aretz. Abichanan Omer. Yeah, Rashi brings this whole Gemara. Abichanan Omer Mishmer Belazar Aliske Slav. They were misnabam and Slav. Rav Nachman Omer Aliske go Gumaga b'Hayim misnabam. So the Gemara goes on, and the Gemara just says the Gemara goes on in this Agadita, and the Gemara says the whole story that Rashi and Chumash brings. Let's I think it's Kedai maybe just because of time. Maybe we'll skip to the next Gemara to the sugya.
Gog Magog is what, the end of time?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Fine. So let's go to the next Gemara to the two dots. So the Gemara says as follows. The next part of the Mishnah. Yeah. Minayin lahavi oid shloisha. So the Gemara says, loy mishkachas, you can never be, you can never be lera al pi echad. You can never win a majority al pi echad. Let's go back to the Mishnah. The pasuk says, "V'shaftu ha'eda v'yitzilu ha'eda." The pasuk says 2 times eda. Eda shofetes ve'eda matzeles harekan eser. U'minayin le'eda shi'asara shnemar ad mosa le'eda arozos. Yatsu Yeshua v'kolit. U'minayin lahavi od shlosha. How do you know they need 3 more to the 23 dayanim? Because you only have 20. Mimash nemar, from the fact that the pasuk says, Lo siya achrei rabim leros. Last week's parsha. You can never have a negative verdict with just one. Shomei she'em l'toiva imkein lama nemar achrei rabim la'atos lo katayas l'tova atayas l'ra. Rashi in this passage parsha. Atayas l'ra atayas l'tova al pi echad atayas l'ra al pi shnayim. You need 2. Being based in shakel most even late echad, and I can never have 22 and even based in. So therefore, I know that I have to add 3 more to the 20 dayanim. So the Gemara says, "Sof l'ra al pi shnayim lo mishkachas la." So you're never going to have a kiyum of the pasuk in this past week's parsha. It's fascinating. Every shir is another connection to every parsha. Sof l'ra al pi shnayim lo mishkachas la. How are you going to ever have a kiyum of the pasuk of l'ra al pi shnayim? If 12 are mechayiv and 11 say he's pater, akati chadhu. That's only 1. If it's 3 and 10, so then it's a majority of 3. So when is the l'ra al pishnayim that the Mishnah says? Zok the Gemara, you're right. Amra bavo iyata maitzi ela b'maisifin v'divrei akol. It's going when you add dayanim. When you add dayanim to the Sanhedrin Ketana, or with Sanhedrin Gedola v'alib de Rabbi Yehuda, or you could have it when it's according to Rabbi Yehuda that holds you have an even bezdin, then you could have a ra al pishnayim. So Zok the Gemara, Zok Rashi, Elu mosivim direkol. This not mal yibodkim. Echad asar mezaken ve'echad asar mechayivim. You have 11 are mezaken, 11 that are mechayiv, and what? Ve'echad omer eni yodean. Another guy says, I don't know. Yosif dayanim shnayim. So then you're going to have 2 more. Ta'ash ta'avli bezdin shakol. The eni yodea command lesehu. Upashlu chav dalad mishkachas le'al pishnayim. Yud aleph yud gimel mechayivim. So that's what we found. We found our case where you have one guy who didn't know. So you have 11 versus what? Versus 11. So what do we have to do? We discount the Eni Yodeya, and then we add 2. And we have a Bezdin Shakel, so that's a place where you could have L'ra al Pishnayim in the verdict. Could you just say 12 and 10 on Eni Yodeya? Once you're using Eni Yodeya, what do you need? You're not using Eni Yodeya, you're canceling it. So say... That's exactly what the Gemara is about to say. Says the Gemara...
11 and 1, that's the case.
Say 12, 10 and 1. But he's discounted. Right. So you don't have 23 dayanim. Oh, so you need 23. Yeah. We're going to get to what you're saying. So says the Gemara Chiddush, even though we had many shiurim, we said you can't have a bezdin shakel. That's only in the original bezdin. But when you have an Eni Yodeya Dayan, a Rav that doesn't know, and he's discounted, so then you can add Shnayim and have an even bezdin l'chadchila as long as it's behosafa. Pshita, isn't that pashut? Ma'u desema hide the kamer Eni Yodeya. No, you would have said that which has said Eni Yodeya command the isa dalmi, like what Mark thought. Count the 1 Eni Yodeya as 1 in Memela. What when I add Shnayim? So what? I really have an odd bezdin, and it's not a bezdin shakel. V'yamar milsa shamina le, and if he says and he decides to go back and have something that he is Yodeya, kamash b'la, and that hide the kamer Eni Yodeya command the gmiri. Command the lesadami, the Amar Taima loy shaminan le. And even if he goes back and says something concrete, we do not listen to him whatsoever. So therefore, that's a Moisif and Bezdin Shakel lechatchila, as long as it's b'toisefes. Good. Comes all in the Rambam. And the Rambam says as follows. Halacha beis. Perek Shmina halacha beis. Beis din shel, first of all, just something that is just highlighted. Look at the Rambam in halacha gimel before I get to halacha beis. On the other side. Kol mi shomer eni yodea ein tzarech litein tam lidvarav u'la'odia me'ezeh tam bolo asofik kederech shemara ha'mezaka me'ezeh tam mezaka v'ha'mechayev me'ezeh tam mechayev. So the Rambam a chiddush. When you're an eni yodea, you don't have to be masbir your tam of your eni yodea. I have studied like this, I have studied like that. No, you're fine without being masbir the tam. The reason why the Rambam is telling that is because the Rambam paskins that, look at the following Rambam. Bezdin shel shloisha shenechleku shnayim omrim zaka ve'echad omrim chayev harei ze zaka. Shnayim omrim chayev ve'echad omrim zaka harei ze chayev. Now says the Rambam, echad omrim zaka ve'echad omrim chayev. You have a split. This is by Dini Maminus with 3 dayanim. Ve'echad omrim eini yodeya. The third guy says eini yodeya. Osh omrim shnayim zaka yo chayev v'ashlishi omrim eini yodeya. Yosifu shnayim. So add 2 more, says the Rambam. And what's going to be? Nimtza chamisha noisim and noisim bedover. So how many people do you have? 5. Mark. That's a problem, right, with what I just said. The Rambam contradicts what I just said. Yes, exactly. On Daf Hey. The Rambam says, excellent. The Rambam says that when it comes to what? When it comes to this case, you have one guy says chayiv, one guy says you have 4 people, plus the eni yedea, you have 5 people that are noisim and noisim bedover. Now we understand the Rambam on halacha gimel. The Rambam would have a hava mina that what? That you would actually have to say your tam, because the Rambam holds that an eni yedea is not discounted. Frek the Ravid. He's against the Gemara on Daf Yud Zayin, our Gemara that we just said. The Gemara just says, Moisifin lechatchila bebezdin shokol. What's the chiddush? That the eni yodea is command the lesser dummy. How could the Rambam go against this? The Gemara says, Moisifin lechatchila bebezdin shokol. You can have eaten in bezdin. When it comes to Moisifin, that's to tell you that what? A guy who says eni yodea is what? Is not counted. He's command the lesser dummy. He doesn't exist. So how could the Rambam say, in this case, Nimtza chamisha noisim noisim bedover. It's not true. He's command the lesser. Nimtza arba noisim noisim bedover. There are 4 people that are involved. That's the Ravid's kasha on the Rambam. The Rambam's against this Gemara. So what's the answer? You had 2 more.
You had 2 more. So now
No, you had 3 guys. One's eni yedea.
right. Now you're gonna add 2 more. So now you can sort of.
So how many do you have total?
5.
5.
One of them doesn't count, right?
One of them doesn't count according to the Gemara and Daf Yud Zayin. That's what the Ravid says.
Right, the Rambam's saying
5.
Right.
So the Rambam is ignoring the Gemara.
Right, but the Gemara, the whole reason, so the Gemara, and according to the Rambam, though, if we're ignoring, if you're ignoring this guy, then shakal now, you're 4, no?
Yeah, that's fine.
Right.
That's what the Gemara says. B'mosifin bezdin shakal lechatchila. Good. But the Rambam's ignoring the Gemara. It shouldn't be 5 nosim and nosim bedover. And ad kedei kach, the Rambam says. And by the way, you don't have to say your study asofik of why you're eni yodea. So, l'chayra, the Rambam answered the Ravid's kasha that our Gemara is talking about dinei nefashos, and dinei mamanis is different. But the question is why? Why would one make a distinction between dinei nefashos and dinei mamanis? So the answer is as follows. The halacha tells us later on in Sanhedrin that when a person is malamed schus, he doesn't have the ability to be chayzer malamed chayva. If I thought that this person is potter and he's going to be off the hook, so then I can't be chayzer malamed schus. Malamed chayva. So comes along the Rambam and says, okay, so let's look, what is this eni yodea? An eni yodea is not a person that has no idea. He's a person that the Rambam was mechadish in halacha gimel, that he has so many tzdadim that he would actually, with his tzdadim, is so impressive that he might even influence the other dayanim, that you would have a hava mina, that he has to express his tamim. So says the Rambam, by the way, you don't have to say your tamim. So this guy has serious tzadim. So says the Rambam, in essence, when this guy says, Eineni yodeya, I don't know, what is he saying in other halachic terminology? I have some serious tzadim that this guy is what? Is potter. Is zoich. Says the Rambam, he automatically in Din Nefashos lost his vote. Because now he is forced to go in one direction. And a Dayan that doesn't have the ability to go in both directions is now not a Dayan. So now in Din Nefashos, since he's not Chayzer Melamed Chayva, so Mamela he lost his vote. Because he had a serious tzad to be Mizakeh. Masha Enkin in Dinei Mamanis, there is no halacha like that. So he had Stadim Lakan ut Stadim Lakan. But there is no schus or potter. Every schus for one guy is a schus for another guy. There is no one direction that's zakai or potter. So Mamela, and there is no halacha that if he's Melamed schus, he can't be Melamed Chayva. So Mamela, Zok the Rambam, even by Neni Yodea, no. He's Naisiv and Naisiv B'davar. He's not a non-entity. The fact that he had a vote didn't remove his Shem Dayan. So therefore, in Dinei Mominis, he's still going to be a Gavra. He's still going to be an entity. He's still going to be someone that's going to be involved in the Masu Matan. And even if he doesn't have an opinion in the end, but that doesn't really matter because in theory, he could have an opinion because of the nature of Dinei Mominis as opposed to Dinei Nefashos. So the Rambam learned when the Gemara said, Command the Lesadam, it was only, not a halacha in any person that said Eni Yodea. It's only a person that says Eni Yodea, and that Eni Yodea now makes him stuck. You know, I was learning last night, I was learning the halachas of Stam. So the halacha is that when you get stuck, a lot of the cases, you can have a tinok that comes up to the Sefer Torah, and he could say the way it looks. So there's a machlekes hapaiskim in the paiskim in Inyanei Stam. What happens if the tinok comes up to the Sefer Torah and he says, Eini Yedea? Says Eini Yedea. Smart kid. He says Eini Yedea. He's too much pressure over here. He says Eini Yedea. So there's a machlekes hapaiskim on it. I couldn't believe this. There's a machlekes hapaiskim on it. When a child says Eini Yedea, does that mean that Taka doesn't look like a hay because he says Eini Yedea, and if it was a hay, he would have said hay, or he has no clue, and that's why he said Eini Yedea. So that's the shaila. So it reminded me of this shmuz. Rav Soloveitchik said, a person who says Eini Yodea in a bezdin is a person that the Rambam's telling you that he could have a very nice, dissertation on his Eini Yodea. He has a whole arichas of Stadim Lakan, that in Dinei Nefashos, you wouldn't be able to be Chayzer V'Lamed Chayva because you have a lot of schus. So now you lose your Shem Dayan. But if a guy just walks in there and he says, I have no idea, Zok the Rambam, he's not even in Eini Yodea. He's nothing in the case. He didn't even begin. He's not a person that's commanded less Adami. He's not a person that we have to exclude. That's not even a person that we would even have a Havamina that he should explain why he's Eini Yodea. What's he going to explain? He's going to say, because I have no idea what's going on. That's why I'm in Eini Yodea. So it was interesting because I would think when a child, comes up to the Sefer Torah, he's probably just saying, I have no clue, saying, let me go out and play freeze tag outside. It's like, but apparently not. And some of the poskim are saying when a child goes up there and says Eini Yodea, he's actually giving a psak that it's not a hay. Because if it was a hay, it was taka something that would be accepted. So there's just something that I want to discuss that I discussed last time. But I think this is a very interesting idea, and I think it gets back to the roots of what we spoke about in the past, and this is what I wanted to jump to. So if you go back to the original Rambam, that's the Hezber, and that's the Machlokes Rishonim, how to learn our Gemara, if Command Less Adami is, and Eini Yodea is a stira to all Dayanim, or is only in a situation where in Dinei Nefashos it would have implications on what his ultimate vote would be. But the kasha is what Mark asked. The Rambam says in Perek Beis, in Halacha Beis, that if two say Chayav and one says Eini Yodea, Yosifu Aleim Shnayim. So Mark really asked the question already. Why do you have to be Meisif? Memanav Shach. No matter what the situation, and again, the Rambam's holding that the third guy over here is Command Ise. So what I answered you, Mark, in Dinei Nefashos, is only good for the Gemara of Command Lessa. But once the Rambam's telling me he's Command Isa, so then why do I have to be Meisiv in a situation where the two Dayanim agree? No matter what this person is going to vote, whether it's his Zakai Tzad or whether it's his Chayev Tzad, we're going to come out with the same maskana because the two Dayanim voted, in unison on their vote. So what's the pshat? So we know, I think the pshat is as follows. We know that the halacha of Achri Rabban Lahatos from this past week's parsha is the halacha that we follow Rov. But it's also the source for Bittul Barov. And Reb Chaim told us that the mechanics of the way a Bezdin is working is through the concept of nullification, of Bittul. So I thought that perhaps this is the Hezber of the Rambam. That it could be that in order to nullify something, the Ran tells us in the Darim that if you have a Davar Sheyesh Lamatir, let's say Lamashal, I have Truma that fell into my, let's say I have Muktzah that fell into my Taruvis, or I have Chodosh that fell into my Taruvis. So this is a Davar Sheyesh Lamatirim. There's going to be a certain Zman that this is going to be mutter. So comes along the Ran and says Davar Sheyesh Lamatirin is not batal. So one could have two explanations on why that should be. Nullification is not applicable to an Isser that is omed to be mutter. Rashi tells us the reason why Davar Sheyesh Lamatirim is not batal is because why should you rely on Bittul? Just wait a few more minutes, just wait the Zman out, and don't rely on Bittul if you don't need to rely on Bittul. Ein mevatlan Isser l'chadchila. We shouldn't rely on Bittul when we're not necessary, and even if that's just a time factor. Good. Comes along the Ran and says it's much more fundamental. In order for Bittul to exist, Bittul means there's a war. There's a war, there's a battle. The Heter is fighting it out with the Isser, and came along the Heter, and it subsumed the Isser, and it totally nullified the Isser. But says the Ran, that's only in existence if, fundamentally, there's a battle, and there's clash, and there's a problem over here, and they're fighting against each other. You can only win a battle if you fight the battle. If you never started, so then you never win the battle. You never get into nullification. So you need opposition in order for them to be batal. This is what the Rishonim coined a term in many areas of Shas. Hetera behetera loy batal. Heter and heter, two dvarim hamutarim, are not going to be batal. They're not going to nullify against each other. They're not going to lend themselves to nullification. You need Isser against Heter. So says the Ran, perhaps a Davar Sheyesh Lamatirim, it's not that it's just a time factor and we don't want to rely on Bittul, but rather it's something more fundamental. This isn't an absolute Isser. This is actually something that is a Miktsas Heter, that is going to lend itself to a Zman that it's going to be permitted. Says the Ran, it's not just lechatchila, we want you to do this. There's no bittul possible here fundamentally because there's no opposition. Because the heter greets the heter and they don't clash against each other. And that's why there's no bittul. In Cain, perhaps we could say this is the source. When a Dayan says Eini Yodeya, and Reb Chaim is telling us that fundamentally every Bezdin has to nullify the miyut that was in opposition against the Rov, it only could be such a Dayan that's standing there chai v'kayim and stark and saying, you are wrong and this is my vote. But if a Dayan says, Eineni yodeya, so then he's in agreement. So his agreement now makes it that I can't follow the Rov right now. I can't implement Hazlinan Basaruba. I can't nullify his tzad chayva because it's episa davar sheyesh lamatirin. It's something that's actually mat'im to my vote. It's something that has a similarity to my vote, and it's missing the fundamentals of what Bittul Barov carries. So therefore, Zok the Rambam, even when it's command isadami, you could say in the Rambam, that's why Yosef Shnayim, because over here he doesn't have the ability. He doesn't have the ability to be nullified. So how do you finish the Rambam? Says the Rambam, Amru shloisha mehem zakai ushnayim chayev hareze zakai. Amru shloisha chayev v'shnayim zakai hareze chayev. Amru shnayim zakai v'shnayim chayev ve'echad omer ini yodea meisifin shnayim. Avalim Amru arba zakai. O chayev ve'echad omer ini yodea. Oisha Amru Shlosha Zaka ve'echad Chaya ve'echad Amr in Yodea Bein Shahaya Zesha Amr in Yodea Husha Amr in Yodea Betchila bein shomer achara ochan achara rov. If I'm right, the end of the Rambam is a kasha on me. Because the Rambam says you could have 4 dayanim, and if one of them says Ein Yedea, don't worry, don't even bother adding. So now the Rambam seems to go back on what I just said. Because the Rambam's saying that we can follow rov when you have an Ein Yedea, and the Ein Yedea can be clashed.
You need rov and you need 3 dayanim.
Oh. So the answer is exactly what Mark's saying. When we add on all these dayanim, again, what are we starting from? A bezdin of 3. We have the bezdin of 3. So once you have the bezdin of 3, I don't really care about the Ein Yedea. Because I have the bezdin of 3 without the Ein Yedea. But if it's like the Rambam started off, that it's 2 and an Ein Yedea, and then you want to say, who cares what this guy is going to vote? Mimanav Shach, these guys agreed, and now I don't even need his vote? The answer is no, I do need his vote. Because I need a bezdin of Shlosha. And I need to start off with the bezdin that I started off, and they have to be a psak that lends itself to bittul, to be nullified, and I can't do that when it's any idea. But like Mark's saying, if I already have 3 anyways, and this guy's not going to matter, so even though the Torah says, the Gemara says, I should add on 2 more, but ultimately it's just a hechitimsa to get to the 3 dayanim, and in this situation, that's something that I have over here, and I don't need to nullify him anymore in order to have my bezdin shlosha. I have a bezdin shlosha even without it.
Even if his Ein Yedea is really just that he's indecisive because he's torn, as opposed to doesn't.
Yeah, because I don't need to be mevatel him. Because right now he's not necessary. I have my bezdin of shlosha even without him. So it's interesting. The Rambam clearly is holding, based on that when you're moisif shnayim, it's just a hechitimtza to get the bittul. But really, what is my bezdin? It's not a bezdin of 5. It's a bezdin of 3. And it's just a hechitimtza to get to the bezdin of 3. But if you will have the ability to have the bezdin of shloisha without having actually 5, says the Rambam, that's going to be kosher, and an Ein Yedea, one of the 5 that's going to be Ein Yedea, will not be parallel to an Ein Yedea of 2 versus the 1 and one of the 3. Stop here. Shkayach.